And I was like, what the hell is Paul putting me through here at one point? It gets so like crazy, and I was starting to get annoyed with like, okay, that's not real. That's not real. What is real? Like, I just, you start questioning
I
your
was
own reality. And we're back. Welcome to another episode of Two Guys in a Movie, Season 2, Episode 2. This week is Paul's pick. So, Paul, what'd you pick this week?
Well, thanks for inviting me today, Dan. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Be sure to follow him on TwinFlix. He's already got 10K subscribers. Follow Return of the Disc. He's under 1K.
You're growing, though. You're growing.
Yeah, I know. Slow and
Guys,
steady, right?
go. If you haven't already, go subscribe to Dan's YouTube channel. It's Return of the Disc. He does some great stuff over there, some reviews and film analysis and stuff. It's a really good channel. So today I picked. Did you already mention the title?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I tried to tee it up for you to like, hey,
And then I ruined it. All right, so today's pick is from 1990, director Adrian Lane's Jacob's Ladder, starring Tim Robbins, Elizabeth Pena, Danny Aleo. Is that how I pronounce his name?
ILO.
ALO. ELO.
The chiropractor.
ELO. So yeah, this is a movie that
I think like early Ving Rhames as well.
Yeah, he shows up in it too, right? Yeah. In the beginning. So this is a movie that I've seen a handful of times since it was released. You've never seen it, right?
Right.
And so I wanted to pick a movie that, like I told you, it's very surreal and feels like an acid trip almost. And I wanted to pick something that you've never seen, but also something that's kind of crazy and out there. And I wasn't sure how you were going to take it, but we'll learn about your response later, a little bit later on. First,
I'll just say mission accomplished. That was the goal. Something
cool.
I haven't seen and something that's crazy. Mission accomplished.
Like I told you, it was like a fever dream, an acid trip. So, Jacob's Ladder. Real quick synopsis here. It stars Tim Robbins. He plays Jacob as a Vietnam vet who is grappling with severe PTSD after a bizarre incident happens to his platoon while being ambushed in Vietnam. And then back home, he is also suffering from the aftermath of a traumatic loss of his son. So as I said, it's directed by Adrian Lane, who before this directed Flashdance, 9.5 Weeks, Fatal Attraction, and it was written by Bruce Joel Rubin, who later wrote Ghost, and one of my personal favorites, My Life, starring Michael Keaton, and your favorite actor, Nicole Kidman.
Oh.
And
that's a good movie though. That's a sad one if I remember. My Life.
Very sad. Yeah. Very sad. I can't watch it now after my dad passed, but I love that movie. I thought we would first, before we get into our review, let's look at some of the reviews online. I'm going to start with some of the negative and then go to the positive. 1 star from a person named C in 2023 says, I could not watch this after the very first scene. It was so emotionally disturbing, reminded me of A Clockwork Orange. Was it drugs? Hallucinations? Dreams? Robin's other movies are far better. This was a tough watch, but not my cup of tea. 1.5 stars. Says the movie's very boring. Nothing is clear except we know nothing the protagonist sees is real. The problem is there is no progression. It's just a very long, psychotic episode. So, some of the Rotten Tomatoes, the critic response in 2025 is 72% critical response.
Right, and I think it makes sense that it's either like everybody loves it or hates it. It's kind of one of those movies where it's divisive.
Yeah, for sure.
And I watched the Siskel and Ebert review.
Oh, okay.
And
I didn't watch that.
They both gave it favorable, but they still were able to argue about it for different reasons.
Yeah.
Ebert found hope in the ending, and Siskel was more lukewarm. but they both agreed that it was like a thinking person's movie.
Oh, for sure.
And I found it interesting that they both gave it, thumbs up, but they both kind of disagreed about certain things inside of the favorable review. I think that's kind of like a lost art in
Yeah.
these critiques these days, where you can give it a positive review, but also have constructive criticism.
Yeah, usually if there's something you don't like about it, they give it a bad review and trash it.
Yeah, it's like all or nothing.
It's like, yeah. But I thought it was interesting because the audience review was at 84%. So audiences seem to like it more than the
Yeah.
critics. There's just a couple here. Positive reviews from Mike Harrington says, "This movie stayed with me my entire life ever since I saw it in the theater. I think it was visualized things that people feel in their life but cannot name. I remembered leaving the theater absolutely emotionally wrecked. Honestly, you have to be in an okay place to even watch it. I would not view this movie if you are struggling with depression. However, it could be seen as therapeutic as well." Gavin's.
I have comments on that, but I'll get to it later in my review. But
Gavin says, "This is such a great film with so many plot twists. The whole look and the feel of the film is unnerving and unlike anything else I've ever seen. Tim Robbins is supported by a fantastic cast. Only in a few areas does this film show its age. I would love to watch a remake of this film." No, you do not want to see a remake of this film because they actually made a remake a few years ago. And
they did, yeah.
I watched a little bit of it. I couldn't even stand 5 minutes of it. It was so bad. And one last one here. Ernesto gives it 5 stars. Says, "Jacob's Ladder is an engrossing horror thriller. It mixes elements from war movies, government conspiracy, surreal horror, and the afterlife. Though it's hard to imagine a movie having all these traits making any sense. But Jacob's Ladder succeeds in every way. It's a movie that went underappreciated when it was released back in 1990, but has achieved a cult status." And, yeah.
I can see that. Looking at the numbers on the numbers.com for box office, it only did domestically 25 million. I think it had a better life probably on home video, I would imagine. I mean, how did you find the film?
Does it give a budget?
No.
Okay. That's weird. I don't know why sometimes they show a budget, sometimes they don't. I remember the commercials on TV.
Okay.
Back in 1990 when it was released, and I mean, I'm the type of person where I've always been drawn to more of the darker side of movies. Like I love.
Oh, I know.
Stuff like give me the Sevens, give me Silence of the Lambs, give me those type of movies.
Henry.
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. So I really, and the reason why I really like those movies is because they do make you think. I mean, yeah, it can be depressing and kind of, I don't want to see that, but also it makes you think because it deals with psychological elements and psychological thriller, and I love that. I think it's probably because I've always been really interested in psychological, whatever you call it. Like I've always wanted to be a psychiatrist.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And so I guess it's because of that, because I'm always fascinated by that. But yeah, so when I saw the commercials for this, I mean, I don't know if you saw the trailers, if you went back to look at the trailers, but it tells you nothing. It just cuts to all these weird, surreal images, but yet it took place in Vietnam. And so it's like, what's going on here? And that's what made me want to see it. And I actually saw it when it came out on video, on VHS.
Okay.
Rented it, and I was just glued to the screen. And like this one guy said, I never forgot it since first time I saw it. It was like just burned into my brain ever since I saw it. And then I didn't see it for years and years. And then when it came out on Blu-ray, I picked it up and watched it again. I'm like, to me, it still holds up.
Yeah, I watched the beginning of the trailer and I stopped because I was like, I don't want to ruin too much. I wanted to go in as blind as possible.
So,
and Well, I don't want to talk about my review yet, right? I mean, we're talking
No,
about.
I was going to talk a little bit more about, just a little bit more about the movie. I was looking up the meaning of Jacob's Ladder because honestly, I've never known what that really meant. And I knew it had some kind of biblical reference, but it actually tells you at the end of the movie, I believe, a text card where it talks about a drug.
Yeah,
And
the Ladder Project.
I looked it up, and it was a real project. So Jacob's ladder actually has two meanings. The Bible, where Jacob had a vision of a ladder that reached to heaven, where he saw angels coming and going back and forth between heaven and earth. But the second meaning, as we just said, it's a real drug, and it says here that this was based on a drug that the army conducted testing of BZ, which says it's NATO code for a delirant and hallucinogen known as 3-benzenite, that they used on U.S. soldiers during the Vietnam War in an attempt to increase their combat skills. And it even kind of, like I said, yeah, it even says that at the end of the text about the drug. But it says here, although the drug testing was denied by the Pentagon, there is unequivocal proof of Vietnam soldiers that were given the latter drug who later experienced very horrific nightmares and hallucinations in their day-to-day life.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
yeah,
Vietnam was a rough war all the way around too.
and we even heard this in modern time with Desert Storm, where they gave him orange.
Yeah,
What do they call it?
Agent Orange.
Yeah, and the soldiers come back sick and having all these problems.
And that's depicted in the film too. It's
Yeah, right away.
Earlier, yeah.
Because at the
That opening
start,
scene.
yeah, at the start they're in Vietnam, they're in the jungle, and all of a sudden they know that they are told that they're being ambushed, and all of a sudden, all the soldiers start getting really dizzy and pass out. They start vomiting, and having seizures, and
Yep.
and that's at the same time that they're being ambushed.
Right.
And yeah, I love it too because I like it too because the editing I think is so good in this movie. It's so well done, and it has to do with the sound mixing as well, because they use sound from one scene and then they cut to another scene and it uses the same sound.
Transitions.
Yeah, transitions, just like with the chiropractor scene where.
Oh, yeah.
And you hear that crack, but then it's the cracking of Tim Robbins' neck, and they did that too with because he's laying there screaming, and then it has a scream of the subway car as he wakes up from remembering what happened. And I mean, right from the start, you get this eerie feeling something is not right. The whole subway car is abandoned. It's dirty. There's debris, litter everywhere. I think there's even a pair of glasses on the floor.
Yes.
And then when he gets out of the subway car, nobody's there in the subway, and I mean,
he sees that person's tail or whatever too.
yeah, yeah. Which we'll get more into.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, is this gonna go like some kind of mutation shit going on here? I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, and then the scene where he's at the doctor's office and the nurse bends over and her hat falls off, and you see like a messed up head. And I mean, well, I still remember when I saw it. I mean, what was I, 11, 12 when I saw this? And I still remember thinking, like what you just expressed, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And I thought, I was playing Super Mario Brothers at the time, so I'm like, is this a Koopa? What's going on?
It's just before the Super Mario movie too, so that makes sense. That. Oh my gosh! Now I'm thinking that's a Koopa tail.
What I love too is that every time he wakes up from a nightmare, he always wakes up bathed in bright light.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. Which then that plays into like the whole afterlife thing too, right?
Yeah. So really, the movie, is about him confronting his trauma through the use of, actually, this is from Adrian Lane.
Gosh, I don't even know if that's true or not, but because
Well, We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
So I was looking up an interview with Adrian Lyne, and he says that Tim Robbins confronts his trauma through the use of surreal imagery, distorted realities, strange environments, along with seeing the appearance of dead loved ones, and that this reflects Jacob's very fragmented state of mind and his struggle with reality and hallucinations. He doesn't know what's real and what's not, from the results of his PTSD and his drug-induced state of mind. And but then you also get all these subtleties of angels and demons and heaven and hell. I mean, right when he opens in the big beginning in the subway car, he opens up and looks up at the sign and it says, "What is like you're in hell" or something like that,
Yep.
or hell. So there's all these other subtleties throughout the film that really makes you wonder: is he in purgatory, or
Yeah,
is
exactly. That's kind of where I've kind of felt like the whole movie, minus that opening. The opening, I feel like that is real. That really happened.
mm-hmm.
But then anything after that, until the last 10 minutes or whatever, the big reveal. Um, I think all of that in between is this purgatory state.
And then you think, but is it?
I know that's the thing. It's like you don't know for sure.
because this drug that they used. I mean, like it said, because I looked that up under a medical website. I forgot, some kind of medical website, and it says that soldiers came home with very, very traumatic, horrific, realistic nightmares and hallucinations, where they didn't know what was real and what wasn't, and they ended up in a mental institution because of it. So, is it that? Is
Right.
he just hallucinating? Is he so like fragmented state of mind, or is he in purgatory?
He had this life with family and kid. Macaulay Culkin also plays the kid, which I found interesting.
Macaulay Culkin does?
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin
Why didn't I notice that?
plays the kid, and I was like, wow, great job, great casting. I mean, he was a hell of a child actor.
Wow.
And then he's got this girlfriend at the post office. And immediately I'm thinking, 15, 20 minutes into it, I'm like, okay, she's not real. He's imagining her.
Elizabeth Pena?
Yeah. That's my interpretation. But this movie does a great job of like, you think you figured it out, and then it throws it upside down every 20 minutes or so. It's like
Right.
you question everything.
Right.
And it's one of the movies that, I know this sounds weird to say, but it's a movie that you have to absolutely not judge this movie until you see the end. Like
Exactly.
every movie should be like that, but usually in a movie, sometimes I'm like, okay, I really like this movie before it ends. Sometimes I know that's not really a good way to grade a movie, but on this movie, if you're trying to figure out if you like it or not, you need to see the complete story.
Right. And you can't be sitting there texting and
Yeah, you have to
doom
pay
scrolling.
attention,
You
too.
can't watch TikTok while you're watching it.
It really is. It messes with your mind, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think this movie holds up too because I think it plays into the whole attention span thing we have going on now, a short attention span. I think this movie, it was ahead of its time, possibly,
Oh,
with the way
that's
that it edited.
I was looking at some critical reviews, and that's what a lot of critics back then said,
Okay.
that this movie's ahead of its time, and that they said that's possibly why it
Yeah.
didn't work at the box office. And I think it especially works now, especially in the day and age that we live in, where now we know about all these chemicals and medication that were given to soldiers, and we know a lot more about mental health
Mental health,
and
yep.
and psychology and you know and I mean the guy down the street talking to himself, is he hallucinating? What's going on? And so it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's like he has PTSD, and then on top of that, schizophrenia. So it's
Yeah.
like,
What
wow.
what I love too is that he's not alone in this. He and this is probably the script giving him someone to aid him along the journey, which is his chiropractor.
Right, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. And Danny Aiello is one of the actors that I love him as a character actor. He's great in like everything that he's in.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
he has a line in there. He's like, "It's a deep adjustment." So not it's kind of a clue where it's like, okay, he's adjusting to whatever's happening to him. Like
yeah.
it's sort of
Everything is symbolic.
yeah, exactly. It's
And I always, from the very first time I saw this, I remember being, what was that, 11, 12. I always thought of him as, well, he's Tim Robbins' guardian angel.
yeah,
And he's trying to calm him down and trying to, give him some peace. Um,
which
you
is what
know,
chiropractors are supposed to do. They're supposed to give you some relief.
yeah, because that's chiropractic care, it's
Yeah,
supposed to give you some relief. And so I like that Bruce Joel Rubin thought of that in his script. It wasn't just some doctor. It
right.
was it was a chiropractor for a reason. Yeah, the one thing about Bruce Joel Rubin is that he makes these great scripts, but he does not done very many movies. I think he's only done 3 or 4 movies. I know he directed one. Well, wait, I think he directed My Life. I'm not sure, but I know that he's only done a handful of movies, and all of his scripts deal with like the spiritual afterlife type of deal. In My Life, when he goes to the person to remove the cancer, and you
Yeah.
see the fluttering white flutter, you know, uh, and then he wakes up. He's like, "What did you do to me?" And so his scripts always deal with that type of
And
spirituality
this
and
was like around the time, Tim Robbins was just about to become like the it
huge.
guy, I think, in the 90s, right? And he was
Yeah.
about to go on a run.
Well, Bull Durham is what really threw him into
Yeah, true.
stardom.
I think that was late 80s, right? Around this time.
80, 88. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, as a side note, Tim Robbins says that is still his favorite movie that he's done, is Bull Durham.
Bull Durham?
Yeah. He
Well, he
loved.
met his wife there.
Yeah. That's true too. But he said that was his favorite character he's played.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
I thought that was cool. But what's cool too is that we'll get through this and we'll talk about it more. But Jacob's Ladder was done, I want to say, with perfection. A lot of care. A lot of care. I mean, Bruce Joel Rubin said he wrote this script in the early 80s.
Mm, okay.
Um, and
Was he a veteran at all? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, Adrian Lin, I think was a really good choice to direct this film. I mean, if you've seen any of his other movies besides 9.5 Weeks and Fatal Attraction, he does a
Hey,
lot of that type of
visually stunning.
yeah.
Kim Basinger, Nick Gerard.
And The Fridge, that Hot Shots did a great parody of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's like they did this so well. They knew exactly what they were doing when they went into it. And it's not a mess. It's not convoluted. It may seem that way. It may feel that way while you're watching it.
It's supposed to.
But exactly right. It's supposed to. And I'm not going to say it all wraps up in the end because it really doesn't, because you still don't know exactly what happened. But I think you have a strong enough sense of what happened.
I mean, I could go into my review if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
I went through a lot of emotions. And I was like, what the hell is Paul putting me through here at one point? It gets so like crazy, and I was starting to get annoyed with like, okay, that's not real. That's not real. What is real? Like I just, you start questioning
I
your
was
own reality.
I was
And I
hoping
think it's a
that
testament to how great the filmmaking is, because you're questioning as an audience member.
well, I was hoping that you weren't going to get too frustrated with it and turn it off. I was hoping that you
No,
weren't.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like I think there is a moment where if you're not into these kind of movies, or you're just coming in new, you don't know what it's about, you could possibly turn it off,
Yeah.
but you would miss out on the actual, like, for me, it was a gut punch at the end. It's like it kind of like it was almost like a revelation. Like, oh, it makes sense on
Yeah.
some level. Like, it doesn't completely make 100% sense, but I have sort of this grapple of it now. Like, okay, I get it. It just hit me where it's like, wow, that ending was, I don't know, almost like profound, because I was like, and not many movies do that.
Especially today.
Yeah,
We don't have any movies that do that today. Um, but
I
yeah,
was
I mean,
just, it was just surprise. It was surprising to me.
I,
'Cause
I
I had thought about, maybe it is this like inner passage or purgatory type thing, and a journey to the afterlife type thing. And I also thought of A Beautiful Mind with the
oh
schizophrenia stuff.
yeah.
Of course, that's more mainstream. Ron Howard wouldn't never direct this. But yeah, it's like you said, acid trip. And I was completely sober throughout, so I can't even imagine being on something and
Oh
watching
man.
this.
You'd probably, yeah, you'd jump out the window.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting too. You have Rambo was a Vietnam film, and then you have Jacob's Ladder. Coming Home was another big one in Vietnam, and so it fits in that Vietnam category. It fits in like the spiritual category. It fits in like grief category, because you have the whole thing about his family and his kid dying, and losing his family, and then
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot going on.
And the imagery, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll keep going back to the imagery because, I mean, even again, near the beginning of the film when is he delivering mail? I'm not sure, but he's walking down the street and he sees a car coming by him, and he looks in the window, and there's like this weird disfigured face in the
Yes.
window that looks at him while he's driving by, as if he knows him. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like
there's
Tim Robbins doesn't even talk much. He doesn't have much dialogue at all. He does all of his acting physicality in this.
yeah, yeah, which shows. I honestly don't think Tim Robbins has really shown the range that he can have in an act as an actor. This shows the range he has, and I don't think many movies he's done really does.
I thought of another part that he did. It was really small, but it was in that Spielberg remake of War of the Worlds, and
Oh yeah,
I thought about that character he plays. It's sort of similar to this one.
he's in the
He's like
basement
this
holding the
like,
gun, and
yeah, he's like in the house, paranoid, sort of
yeah,
like probably a vet with the gun, and Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning, and they're just like trying to get out of his way and stuff. But
maybe this is a sequel.
maybe
War
I
of the
don't
Worlds is a
know.
sequel to the Jacob's Ladder.
I have to imagine Spielberg has seen this film.
Oh, I'm sure he has.
But yeah,
Um,
you're right. He's definitely got some range in this one. You haven't seen it. I haven't seen Silo, but I'm sure he's not going this far.
so I know. I mean, I've always been a fan of Elizabeth Pena. I've
Yeah,
always liked her as an actor, and I think she's great in this because what she's great at is that her performance is so good. Where it's like she she starts to care, but then she doesn't,
right.
and she starts being snarky and starts almost making fun of him. And sometimes there's a whole party scene where she's just kind of belittling him and just shoving him to the side. And that's a scene that I want to talk about because she goes and dances in the middle of the crowd.
That's the nightclub thing,
Yeah,
right?
the nightclub.
Yeah.
Dances in the middle of the crowd, and he's dancing with a couple of guys around her, and you see these really quick shots of like a tail and like a body of a lizard or something,
Yes.
and she's dancing with them real provocatively, and and it's just like, and Tim Robbins is sitting there seeing this, and he doesn't know what's going on. Is he hallucinating? He starts freaking out. And honestly, I watched this a few days ago. I can't remember. It's a bathtub scene. Was that before or after that? Do you remember?
I think it was after.
After.
If it's before, it's not much. It's close, but
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know
but
either.
that's another scene that's just burned into my brain ever since I saw it. Was the bathtub scene where he has a fever, right? and
Yeah.
and everyone is freaking out and panicking, and he's yelling and screaming, and they put him in a cold bathtub to take away his fever, but and they keep putting ice on it, like aggressively keep putting ice on him over and over and over again, and he's yelling them to stop and screaming, and it's just like, you're watching the scene thinking, what is going on? Is
Well,
it
having known the ending now, I mean, is it was it different for you on rewatch?
So, not this time I saw it, but the last time I saw it. We're going to go and talk about it. Let's go
Yeah.
and talk about what we think. So, not this time I saw it, but the last time I saw it, I remember thinking, because at the ending, he's on the helicopter,
Right.
and it ends with him flying off, right? And I kept thinking, well, maybe that is in his mind, his peace of mind. That gave him the peace of mind that he needed to call to you know to live, and not be terrorized by these hallucinations and nightmares, and the loss of his child. That's what I got. Like the last time I watched it, is that gave him a peace of mind, and
Okay.
it was God that gave him that peace of mind.
Yeah,
Does that make sense to you?
it does.
And so that's my take on it. I don't believe he was in purgatory. Um, that's what I think happened. Um,
I
and
think he was mostly fighting for his life throughout the film, like
mhm.
mentally and obviously, yeah, struggling with some mental stuff, and then, but I think it's all inside his mind for like most of the film, in my opinion. Like it's
Now
all this stuff. Maybe it's
let me ask you
real.
this.
Maybe he really did have that family.
Let me
Maybe
ask you
the kid
this.
really died, then he went to war type thing. You know, maybe he did have a shit job at the post office. Maybe I just feel like there's this devil angel thing going on too,
Oh yeah,
and then we just cut to him laying in this medical thing, and they're like, "Yeah, we lost him. He's
yeah.
laying there dead." And that's what I was like, "Okay, yeah, that makes sense." It was like he was fighting, living or dying, and then he finally just let go, took the spiritual ladder,
So I'll tell you that
and
my full thought of this,
okay,
and I've always thought this for years. I've thought this. Everything from the whole movie is in his mind while he's laying there dying.
right,
In Vietnam, on the helicopter, in the hospital. Like what you were saying, he's dying, fighting for his life, but at the same time, he's, trying to
he's reliving maybe some memories.
reliving memories, but also fighting against maybe the traumas and the horrific things he did in Vietnam, while also this and that, and maybe he cheated on his wife, and that's Elizabeth Pena. Um, so that's what
Lust,
I.
because so that club scene could be a symbol for lust, then for sure, with the dancing and the lizard or demon
Yeah,
tail or whatever.
yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, that's what I've always thought. I never thought that he was in purgatory. Just that he is fighting for his life, and he's, they say your whole life flashes before your eyes before you die, and so that's what I always thought it was, is similar to that.
And it could
Um,
be like one big acid trip.
and he's just sitting on the toilet.
His name's Elvis.
No, but yeah, that's what I always thought. I mean, do you agree?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. And that's why I thought the ending was brilliant in that way, because I don't know if there's any other way that it could possibly make sense, because there's so much going on. There's like, honestly, there's like three different movies going on
Yeah.
at once, and it makes sense that it's this reliving, retelling struggle, good versus evil, all of this, and then you have like the guardian angel chiropractor and I mean, I'd have to rewatch it, and I think I might get more out of it knowing
because
the ending and knowing where we're going.
there's also little sound effects here and there where I thought I symbolizes like them trying to start his heart up with the paddles. Um, and yeah, I mean,
So do you think that the ending is a hopeful one, or how do you read? I mean, do you think it's a like a
hopeful
positive
as of what?
ending or a negative ending, or I mean,
I don't know. I
how
don't know.
did you feel?
I don't know if I would say hopeful, but I think that he found peace before he died,
Yeah,
and that I don't know if that's considered hopeful, but that's what I always thought, that he finally found. He was so traumatized, going through all this trauma, probably feeling guilt for what he did in Vietnam, feeling guilt for what he did in his life in the real world, his loss of his son, who knows, whatever, we don't know, but that tug and pull between bad and good, and then on top of that, hallucinating with the latter drug, and so I think that he finally reconciled and found peace before
yeah,
he
that's what I was
died.
gonna say. I think it's a peaceful ending, and
Yeah,
in that way, I felt hopeful, which is kind of weird. That's kind of how I felt at the end. I was like, wow,
yeah,
because I expected maybe this dark ending or open ended. I mean, it still kind of is open ended, but to me, it does feel like there is a conclusion. Though I felt like he is dead unless you can read a different way where
I don't know. I
um,
mean, I've looked up different things here and there throughout the years, and I see a lot of people saying that no, he died on the field and he's in purgatory, and he's in heaven. At the ending he goes to heaven. I've heard other things where it's like no, everything's real. He's just hallucinating. He's schizo, and he's in a mental hospital the whole time.
yeah, I saved
So
it. I think I might have mentioned he was or I thought maybe purgatory, but now thinking about it, I think he's conscious the whole time, right? And then
yeah,
when we see him in the medical tent, I think I heard like there's a flat line or something. There's some kind of sound where they're like, yeah, he's gone or something.
yeah,
And
yeah. Well, let
what
me
I
ask
also
you.
noticed too is his hairstyle different than what it was in the opening scene,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah,
I
it
didn't
is.
see any remnants of like
Yeah.
the ladder effect or the poison or whatever, the chemical stuff. There's it's a big it gets you thinking for sure.
Oh
This is
yeah.
like this is not like an easy watch. Or
Yeah, and Bruce Joel, going back to a dark ending, Bruce Joel Rubin and Adrian Lynn said they didn't want a dark ending because they feel that would have just ruined the movie. And I agree. If they would did a dark ending, you would not like this movie.
I was just I guess I was just so used to having these lately. It just seems like Ari Aster is such a downer, and then
Oh
and
yeah,
then and then these horror movies that come out, Long Legs, and
yeah,
I just kind of assumed it was going to go on that path, but I really I think it does a successful ending, and it really is one of the better endings I've seen in a long time. It's just I don't know, it kind of it hit me in a certain way, and if that makes any sense, it's just
oh
kind of
yeah.
like wow, okay. You have to imagine he's laying in that bed too, probably having seizures and stuff too, and we're not seeing that part, but
So
we're
yeah,
seeing like the inner workings of it probably,
yeah. That's
and
what I
then he's
always.
flatlined or has peace or whatever and
Yeah.
passes on.
See, that's what I always thought too. Is like what you're saying. He's in the hospital because that makes sense too with the scene in the hospital, the horrific scene in the
Yeah,
hospital, and he's probably having seizures, hallucinating while he's laying in bed, while he's also dying, and so that whole scene also makes sense. What did you think of the effects, the special effects in this movie?
this still holds up, man.
I
Still
mean,
holds up.
the scene that they always showed in the trailer is when his head, goes back and forth really fast and is screaming. And I mean, I looked it up to just some trivia here. It says that all the special effects were filmed live with no post production.
Yeah,
And
it's unheard of now.
oh yeah, I mean they would have artificially moved his face back and forth if they did it now. It says, for example, to achieve the infamous shaking head effect, director Adrian Lyne simply filmed the actor waving his head around back and forth while he had people holding down his shoulders and the rest of his body to keep it completely still. And he filmed it at 4 frames per second. And then resulting that when you play it back at 24 frames per second, you get that really weird effect. And it's really creepy. And I mean, yeah, it all works. And of course, I mean, it's obvious that I'm gonna say lizard people, that the lizard people are costumes. You know, some people call them demons. I'm gonna call them lizard people. But I mean, it could be his inner demons. But
yeah, I think even Daniello says something about the demons that you choose or something. He has some kind of dialogue where like you have a choice between the demons you choose or if you acknowledge them at all. Or I don't even know the exact line. But
yeah, it was along those lines. Yeah, I mean that's about all that I have to say about this.
So, what is your final rank or rating out of 5 on this one?
Out of 5, I'm giving this a 5. I love this movie. It is one of my favorite movies. I mean, people say it can be really depressing, like those comments said. But I never really found it depressing. Yeah, it's dark and it's really creepy, but there was always moments of hope sprinkled throughout the movie. So it wasn't just completely depressing.
I didn't find any hope before the ending, but yeah.
If you rewatch it, you'll see. I mean, the Daniela character is hope. You find hope when he wakes up and he's bathed in white light, which by the way, going back to he's laying on that bed, I always pictured it was the doctor shining a flashlight in his eyes.
I think that's probably accurate because they're working on him, trying to resuscitate him.
Yeah, it's always when he wakes up, so like his eyes open. It's insane. It's great filmmaking. It's great acting, performances, and it's hopeful. I mean, it just has everything that I love in a movie. Well, what about your rating?
I'm not quite as high as you yet.
You're giving it a 1?
The movie once, but it's definitely one that the reviews said it sticks with you. It will, and it has. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 right now. It's a good movie for sure, and it's one that I would recommend people watch that haven't seen it, and be sure to watch the whole thing. I mean, like I said, there's moments where it might not be for you, but trust me, I think the payoff is worth it.
Yeah, and like I said at the top of this video, don't be doom scrolling on your phone or texting while you're watching. You really have to pay attention to this
for
movie.
2 hours.
Yeah, and actually, how long is it?
And maybe clutch something in your hand while you're watching.
Hold on to a pillow or something.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
It's an hour and 56 minutes of pure bliss. I will say it's not a family movie. I probably wouldn't watch this with kids, even though I was 11 or 12 when I saw this. But I personally, I would never watch this with my nephew or my niece or nephew, not until they're much older. Yeah, I mean, it's a great movie, and I really highly recommend it. Especially, not even if you're into filmmaking, definitely check this out. In the screenwriting, check this out. But still, if you just love movies and you want something that is just like suspenseful, eerie, creepy, but yet
it's definitely not boring.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I wasn't sure if you would like this movie or not, and I was hoping that you would. So I'm happy that you did like this movie.
No worries, man.
Hold on there. Yeah.
I mean, I've actually we recorded some stuff that hasn't been released, but I've liked everything that you've recommended. I mean, Henry is another one that is stuck with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
yeah, and I love Fandango as well. I mean, it's
Yeah.
completely different movie, but
I don't know. I guess I'm strange because I don't find those movies depressing. So I don't know. Uh,
well,
maybe it shows I have problems. I don't know.
that's another podcast.
That's our other be one guy and a therapist podcast.
Yeah. But we want to know if you guys out there have seen Jacob's Ladder from 1990. Let us know below in the comments your thoughts and your analysis of the movie overall and the ending, and let us know below in the comments. I really like to hear a discussion.
Yeah, for
This
sure.
is one of the movies that is worth talking about. I feel like those water cooler movies. This is one of those movies. Like, oh, I watched Jacob's Ladder last night.
Yeah.
and there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on and talking about Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Today. We'll go ahead and announce episode 3 is your choice, and that's going to be, what is that going to be? I have it written down here somewhere.
2 Mules for Sister Sarah.
2 Mules for Sister Sarah. Clint Eastwood, 1970.
Shirley MacLaine.
71? 74? Somewhere on there. Another, I'm going to say decent movie. Yeah. Oh, yeah, guys. So check with us next Friday night as we talk about 2 Mules for Sister Sarah, Clint Eastwood. I have a lot to say about that one too.
Yeah.
More on the filmmaking aspect. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining us, and let us leave your comments in the comment section, and let us know what you think of Jacob's Ladder, and if you have a movie recommendation for us to review, let us know. In the comments as well. All right. Well, we will see you next time. Next Friday we will see you.
Yep.
All right.
Same time, same place.
Same bad channel, same bad place. All right, guys. We will catch you later. And thanks for joining me, Dan. We'll see you next Friday.